Result-wise, no. The difference I see is definitely in the amount of money that I'm spending, the amount of money I'm saving. I think I realized that when I started getting feedback from people that I was helping them, that I was able to add value to the community and it was helping people. So I think as far as like being recognized for my bodybuilding, that was never really it. It was just more of this, all of a sudden, this recognition around how I was influencing people, and that helped. So I think for that point, you don't even need to get on the bodybuilding stage to, I guess, quote unquote, be someone in the bodybuilding world. I don't care about recognition, more so from just making an impact in that community. Well, I always think program wise, from first off, volume needs. So I think volume on a per set basis should be pretty even spread across your body parts. And then to get that within the week, program the split that you need for that within your recovery capacity. If that happens to be push pull legs, and it is, but you should see like an even spread of volume across those days, but base that on what you're currently doing. For calories, like if I'm sick or I am deloading, for sick, well, if I can't eat, then I can't eat. I just eat what I feel is tolerable. But otherwise, I would be shifting them down when I'm sick to like maintenance. For deload, I do shift them down, but at least the first part of the week, I might leave them the same and kind of see what happens with body weight. Then make sure that I have them set up for recovery. So you might want a slight surplus in the beginning of your deload and then taper them down later in the week when you're feeling more recovered and you're also not looking for weight gain to occur with training not being as stimulating. It is not the split that's making you progress. It is the volume metrics you're hitting for the total week. The split almost doesn't matter. The split design is so you can recover within a session and recover to the next session to repeat that. If it's upper lower, if it's push pull, if it's a bro split, if the volume's equated, it nearly will be a negligible difference. So I can't say like that's a good or bad split. What matters is your volume level and you're able to recover from it. Oh man, the most fulfilling part is just this walking away with just this profound realization of self-development and mastery of something. It's like another level was reached for just physical, mental aspect for myself. And a few things, realizing like from a teaching perspective for everyone that's part of J3U, that it's just kind of validating what we've been doing and that I can further lead these individuals. There's more potential there. And also just for my own like bodybuilding journey, there's even greater potential to see out. So it just makes it really exciting, bodybuilding, to keep having that ceiling raised and know there's still more that I can bring, not just to bodybuilding, but to everyone that's part of the journey with me. If you were working out an hour or less, I wouldn't really even use either. You really could just use water, give it that. On both sides of training, you had a mixed meal of protein and carbohydrates. You'd be fully covered. Even for most of those going into an hour and a half, like really just water is fine as long as you have like enough protein carbs, like post training, like in this 5 hour kind of window around training. If you get into like, carbohydrates would be my prioritized during training, even over an EAA. So I think as you're getting into longer, higher volume sessions, like having intra-workout carbs would make a lot of sense. But of course, you just to leave nothing on the table, you could then add some EAAs into that too if your session's getting into that like hour and a half. Maybe you have like pre and post workout meal. That's also like 2 hours pre and post or hour and a half pre and post. If you train first thing in the morning, hydration first. Like that's going to be the thing that limits your performance the most. Then from there, it comes down to what can you digest. So if it needs to be something really simple, just have a shake of whey. You could even add in like maltodextrin or dextrose, and that's kind of like your intra. You can start drinking that and carry that out throughout the gym. If you can eat before you train, maybe the next thing is like cream of rice and whey. If you can eat more before you train, some people prefer that. Maybe that's rice and chicken or something, or in a fruit along with it. So that would be the first thing to put in, but hydration absolutely would come first. And And I'd probably look at some type of electrolyte complex within that, or have an intra that would have some type of electrolytes too. I'm not. I'm so limited in taking on clients just because I'm so focused in on my own bodybuilding pursuits right now. And really, like, your best coaching is going to come from someone that just does coaching full time. Like, if I was doing a pro competition and you're on that same weekend, like, I absolutely would take priority over, you competing, which you don't want that. You want a coach that's going to be like extremely present for you. But that is why I manage a very small roster, and I'm know like my shows won't mix with my athletes that I do coach. But this is also why I have J3U coaching. So I have coaches that I mentor weekly. Like, we're on calls, we're going over clients together, and these people that know my stuff in and out. So check out J3U coaching. Like, my coaches they're absolute killers. They're excellent at what they do. I'd put them up against anybody. Within a typical bodybuilding diet, we're not really following high fats for the most part anyway. And in like an off-season setting, usually digestion is going to limit how much fibrous foods you're eating. So if you're going to go eat like a head of lettuce or something before you train, like, most people aren't doing that because you'd be so bloated during your training. So having a little bit of fiber, say you had a little bit of oats, or you had oatmeal and there's fats and the fiber in that, but it digests well and you great fuel for training, there's no issue with it. It's not going to impede your results. Currently, I do push-pull legs off, repeat. And those 2 leg days, they vary. One's very hamstring heavy. The other one's very quad heavy. Best way to get rid of post-show water retention is be patient and keep your fluid intake consistent. Keep your sodium intake consistent, which also means not adding in more sneaky foods, snack foods that would have big bumps in sodium. But after, like, if you had a celebratory meal after your show and you're cutting water during your show, and then you bring back water, there's going to be a rebound effect. But usually if you keep things consistent, within 3 to 7 days, you will be back to a baseline and shed off the water. Just don't do anything extreme to try to get the water off. It's back to your plan. Stretching post-workout is this important. Yeah, if you're training at 2 different gyms, I would just have like an A-B rotation of your split. And maybe even, depending on your setup, another way to do it would be have at least one exercise or two that is the same at those gyms. Like, most all gyms will have dumbbells, so maybe, hey, that day I always do my dumbbell press. Then I have to use some other machines that are present. The other gym doesn't have them. But at least you can always know, like, off my dumbbell press and maybe my whatever dumbbell tricep extension, I can use those as gauges for looking at my logbook and see if I'm progressing, see if I'm recovering, etc. Otherwise, you could just have that A-B rotation, and then every 2 weeks you can compare back on your numbers and kind of do the same assessment process. Importance of PDs and bikini prep. Now, I truly feel if you can't build the muscle naturally for bikini, you're going to have a tough road advancing. I think at least anabolic steroids in bikini are far and few between that even should even need to happen. Now, PDs like fat burners or maybe growth hormone or something along this lines, I could see that being in place. But the bikini girls that are like on Anavar all the time, it shouldn't be necessary for the muscularity and the condition level that's required of that division. My general recommendation for fruits and veggies is to hit 500 grams of each per day. This is 5 servings of fruits and veggies per day. If you hit that from a variety of sources, you should cover pretty much most of your micronutrient needs. 3 things I struggle with are asking for help, overthinking decisions at times, and then I love to train, which is great, but it can also still be my detriment from overdoing it at times. You want me to unlock the secret to lean gain success in the offseason? Join J3U Level 1. My infomercial pitch for you, but thank you. Mastering the lean bulk is what we all wanted, right? I think if you're doing this more from a longevity point of view, you're not planning to compete, that could be an approach. But if you look at, I think success leaves clues. If you look at how all the biggest individuals and the leanest individuals who are bodybuilders that do this, they still have to have like some type of building phase and allow body fat to happen, and then then cutting down. Otherwise, you're going to have lots of periods of time where you might not be making progress. The total load, the main input, potentially yes. Of course, some like the second tier from that is like, yeah, some compounds could be more problematic than others, but really what this comes down to is like, if you have the genetic predisposition for going bald, you're probably going to be going bald over time, no matter what type of stack you try to arrange. If you raise the dosage up, it's going to be kind of early onset, kind of either way. This question never goes away. It's still such a, it's like, at this point, it's such a, doesn't really matter in my head, that they're fairly interchangeable in a sense, as far as like what's going to create anabolism. I've grown a ton off either one. I would go with the one that's creating less side effect issues for you, and you know that's real. Those are my two things of what would determine why I pick one. The last one I would pick is managing your shot volume and what creates less injection pain that you can actually tolerate and keep doing these injections with. I have a slight preferential bias into primobolan, as it's probably a little bit more divorced from its androgenetic action, so it'd be a little bit more direct and a little bit cleaner, as far as less side effects potentially than Masteron. But again, some people can't get real primo. A creatine, probably want a good weight gainer, and then some weight training. Stack those and get at it.